I ain't lost my zeal, my passion for it, because it's something that I found on Facebook. Confirmation galore. Everybody talking about order. 2020 is the year of order. You know, of course, you got all of these adjectives and connotations coming up. 2020 is perfect sight. Come on now. They got a whole bunch of stuff. And some people are taking off 2 Chronicles 2020, where it talks about, you know, you believe the Lord God, that if you trust His prophets, you'll be established. So everybody is just, you know, it's getting close to the end. So, I mean, the end of this year. The end of this year. So everybody's digging deep. They got their pan out and they're putting it into the flow of the river and trying to see what they can get out. So everybody feel like 49ers trying to get that nugget, amen? But anyhow, tonight we're going to try to, I'm not going to promise because I'm a week behind. We didn't have service last week, so I am a week behind, right? So y'all going to give me a little, what I say? Give me a little wiggle room. Give me some breathing space. So don't close me out. Don't shut me down. Amen. So we've been trying to get a greater understanding of what order means. And God is bringing the church into order. Trust me. He's going to violate denominational lines because ultimately, anyway, those lines are not necessarily something He had instituted. Those are secondary lines. Amen. Those are B clauses. The A clause, the primary line, that we all been baptized into the same body and we belong to the same family. Am I talking to somebody? All right. And God is looking for God. God is looking for His people. There's a seed that was sown in the earth and it must come to fruition. It's going to look just like the seed was and whatever the seed represented. If we look through the good book, through Matthew, through John, you looked at how the seed walked and operated. Amen. And He released Himself on Pentecost, and now He's being magnified once again in a body. Y'all do know that, right? Therefore, we have to come into a particular mindset. So order is a mindset. We need to have a mindset. You know, we've lived all our lives the way we wanted to. Am I right? Y'all came into the church. How many of you got saved because of chaos and confusion? Am I right? Okay. Pressure, tribulation. Something drove you to your knees. And it wasn't His goodness that drove you to His knees. It was His goodness that got you up. It's only His goodness because it's going to lead you, take you on that journey. But ultimately, you gave God a chance because you were at your wit's end. Come on now. You ran out of lifelines. And you understood somebody told you somewhere along the line, whosoever called upon the name of the Lord will not be denied or dismayed. Am I right? So once you begin to get connected to this DNA and find out that you belong to a royal family, there's some things that that family has to represent or represent in the earth, right? Y'all act like I ain't talking to the right people. Y'all, your life that jacked up that you can't say yeah? No, I know you could have implemented some. There's some teaching, some principle, some element of truth you've included in your life. Am I right? Something fit. You didn't have to force. You just had to relax and let it go. Y'all don't know about that. All right, let's get going to the scriptures, because y'all. I'm sorry. Let's go into, let me just say this. We walked through the Old Testament. We finally landed into the New Testament without regurgitating everything I said. And we looked at a great principle that Paul espoused on, because other than Jesus, the apostolic pattern we can behold, am I right? 2/3 of the New Testament was basically, they say, was by Paul. And Paul was a man of order. That's why you have the epistles. The epistles is his way of communicating order to the different churches he supervised and he started, right? So as you read the epistles, which if you don't know what they are, Romans to Jude. Well, actually, he didn't write Jude, so you would have to cut it off probably right around Hebrew. Because Peter get in there, John get in there, am I right? Jude get in there. So let's just make that our cutoff. But nonetheless, we have enough work and we have enough of a testimony through Paul's writings that order is a quality that's necessary for us to become effective in the earth as believers, right? Because we ended up, I ended up taking you guys, I gave you 6 or 7 different principles, how tithing, remember, how the gifts, remember we went over to 1 Corinthians 14, we found out that the gifts have to be in order. Tithing is in order. I know some folks don't like it, but Paul did write about it in the 16th chapter of Corinthians. So tithing is a part of the culture in the church. It is a principle. And we may wrestle with it, but it is a principle, a precept for order. So even your finances have to come to order. That's a part of your life, right? Most of us waste all of our lives trying to get our finances together. But God has given us, through Paul's writings, a way to get it together. And it's really up to us to adhere to it. So we talked about worship, we talked about the gifts, we talked about the Lord's table, how people can sit at the table and not know the reason for the Lord's table, the communion, that's the Lord's table. So we went through all of those different things. And finally we got towards the end. And I went back a little bit to and I began to share, and I dissected the word order, remember? Anybody remember the word order? Taxes, write this down. I know we like a 57 Chevy. Takes us a little bit. It ain't till I get like on the other side of the tape that we really catch on, but I got a lot to do tonight, so y'all gotta let me go, okay? All right, so we looked it up and we found out the word order in Paul's writing, specifically in Corinth, because that church had a lot of issues. So he consistently advocated for order. Am I right? Anybody ever read Corinthians? Nobody shook their head or nothing. I don't know. Am I the right place? Yeah, you look at Corinth, you look at the Corinthian church, first and second, it was a lot of problems. He said, you guys walk like mere men. You got the goods, you don't come behind in no gift. You got utterances, you got knowledge. That's in the first chapter, 1 Corinthians. He said, you guys are marvelous. But he said, I got something against you. Because you're still immature. You're walking as mere men. You got bitterness, envy, and you got things that operate in people that don't know God. That shouldn't be in operation. That's my paraphrase, right? So he spent a large amount of his ministry trying to get things straight in Corinth. And it still speaks as a declaration for us today. Right? So we can still go through that writing as ancient, and it's a part of the archives. It still has a pulse. So order has a pulse. It has a sound. And it has to affect us on some level. Amen? So the word order is the root. Well, I'm going to talk about 2 root words, but the main word is taxis. T-A-X-I-S. Right? It means one's post, rank, position, which one holds, and arrangement. See, that's what Paul spent a lot of time talking about, arrangement. He talked about arrangement in the church. He talked about arrangement when he wrote to Ephesus, how the husband and the wife should respond to each other. Am I right? Talked about how the father should provoke the children to wrath and anger. That is arrangement. Y'all follow me? And so when he talked about how even the servants need to be over their masters, at that time it was that culture. We don't have to worry about it now. We just have a master named boss. You know, the 9 to 5 we go to, that's the modern day counterpart to master. And it shows us how to respond to him or her, right? And so we use those as principles. And it brings us to arrangements, assignments, and appointments of God. And it says, since this position generally depends on one's talent, experience, resources, character, fashion, quality, and style. So you see how wide that concept is when you talk about order? Order affects your character. It affects your fashion. Now the fashion is not talking about if you like jeans or not. It's another word for culture. So it affects your culture. It affects your style. That's what fashion and style is. It's culture. It affects how we interact, how we relate to one another. That's a part of order. Most of us, we want an authority, this magnanimous authority, this weighty authority that kabod of God like in the Old Testament, where we can stretch forth the rod of God and things can bow, things can bend, and we can cast out devils, we can speak in tongues, and we can do all the pick and choose out of the 9 gifts of the Spirit, but yet it has not affected us internally. So our affairs, the things we do on a consistent basis outside of the nomenclature called church, right? So we have a front of a sense of superiority, but yet it's a certain small portion of our life is given to God, but the major portion, which is our life, who we are, who we're becoming, need to be offered to God. And it needs to be baptized with the fragrance of order. There has to be a fragrance of order. It shouldn't be bitter in your lips. It shouldn't make you all queasy when somebody mentions order. It shouldn't make you get hives. Amen. Sweats. Control. Because when order comes, it brings all the negative toxins in your body. It just comes up. People start running and finding other churches. But my time is up. Yeah, am I right? Yeah, all kinds of thoughts come in. Am I the only person? When order knocks at the door, anything can probably go answer. And you have to be real mature to be able to respond to when order is knocking at your door. You have to be. You have to get mature. It's about maturity. That's the whole goal. That's why you got sanctified. I know we talk about sanctification because we want to make it to get on the other side. You got sanctified as a sign of your maturity. That's what sanctification is. It's a sign of your maturity. The lack of is a sign of your immaturity. So what you tolerate, what you allow, is a sign of your maturity.